There are so many ways in teaching language, but the bigger question is, can we use silence in teaching?
Hi everyone! This is Camille and I am a Master of Arts in Education student at Wesleyan University Philippines Graduate School. In this video, we are going to talk about one of the methods in teaching language, which is called the silent way. If you want to know more about this method, just keep on watching. Let's start with what is the silent way method. The silent way is the name of a method of language teaching devised by Caleb Gattegno in the early 1960s. He first introduced it in his book called Teaching Foreign Languages in Schools, The Silent Way. As the name suggests, this method is based on the idea that teachers should stay as silent as possible during class, but learners should be encouraged to speak as much as possible. The silent way method has three basic learning hypotheses. First, the learner needs to discover or create. Since the teacher won't be speaking much in a silent way classroom, it is up to the learners to discover or create ways on how they can understand concepts better and achieve near-native fluency in the target language. Second, learning is made easier by the use of physical objects such as questionnaire rods. Pedagogical materials play a greater role than teachers in a silent way classroom for the reason that learners would use them to elicit interaction with fellow learners and to gain information on how language is formed and how to use them in everyday conversations. Third, learning is made easier by problem solving using the target language. Without the teacher's input, the learners are forced to figure out all kinds of things on their own, mimicking some real-life situations which they may find themselves facing if immersed in the target language. What are the issues of the silent way method? 1. The silent way belongs to one of Jerome Bruner's two traditions in teaching, which is the hypothetical mode, wherein the teacher and the learner are in a more cooperative position. The learners are not bench-bound listeners, but is taking part in the formulation of learning and sometimes may play the principal role in it. The silent way belongs to this tradition in teaching because this method views learning as a problem-solving, creative, and discovering activity which the learner is a principal actor rather than a bench-bound listener. Number 2. The role of pedagogical materials such as questionnaire rods and color-coded pronunciation charts called fiddle is vital in a silent way classroom as they provide physical foci for student learning and create memorable images to facilitate student recall. In psychological terms, these visual devices serve as associative mediators for student learning and recall. Number 3. The silent way is also related to a set of premises which many have called problem-solving approaches to learning. These premises are succinctly represented in the words of Benjamin Franklin. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. In a silent way classroom, the teacher's strict avoidance of repetition forces alertness and concentration on the part of the learners. Which syllabus is the silent way following? The silent way adopts a basically structural syllabus with lessons planned around grammatical items and related vocabulary. What are the objectives of the silent way method? There are three. 1. The teachers are expected to facilitate and help students gain insight into the functioning of the language. 2. The learners are expected to achieve near-native fluency in the target language. And 3. The learners are expected to develop autonomy and independence. What are the roles of the teachers and the students inside the silent way classroom? Let's start with the teachers. The teachers are expected to facilitate learning, use charts, graphs, and manipulates to elicit and shape students' responses, and, as silent as possible, monitor the students' interactions with each other. On the other hand, the learners are expected to be a teacher, a problem solver, and a self-evaluator. Be a teacher in the sense that the learner is fully responsible for his or her learning inside the silent way classroom. A problem solver because the learner will apply real-life problem-solving situations in order to achieve near-native fluency in the target language. And being a self-evaluator for the reason that the absence of the teacher's correction and modeling requires the learners to develop an inner criteria to correct themselves in the process of learning the target language. Let us now proceed with the how of the silent way method. How can we learn inside a silent way classroom? To answer the question simply, the learners can learn inside the silent way classroom mainly through the use of the following pedagogical materials. Number 1. Word charts. Words are written in the same color code as the rectangle chart. Number 2. The fiddle. This chart contains all of the possible spelling of a phoneme and also use the same color code as the rectangle chart. And last but not the least, the most popular among the three, which is the questionnaire rods. These rods are used to create clear and visible situations that enable learners to understand how a given concept is expressed in language. And for the last part of our discussion, let's proceed with the why or why not choose this method. Let's start with the advantages. In a silent way classroom, it promotes learners' independence, autonomy, creativity, and responsibility. It also helps them develop their problem-solving skills. And last but not the least, it is learner-centered. However, despite these advantages or good things in using the silent way method, there are also several disadvantages, such as the learners work in isolation and communication is badly lacking in a silent way classroom. And also, since there is a minimum help on the part of the teacher, the learning itself might be put at stake inside the silent way classroom. So, that ends my discussion about the silent way method, and I hope you learned something about this. Thank you! Bye!